This video will demonstrate a few of the great and convenient features of NoteScribe for students, such as creating sources and bibliographies, as well as exporting and importing files, and adding attachments to supplement your notes. So let's go ahead and get started by showing you how to create a source and generate a bibliography. To create a source, all we have to do is select the note that we want to add a source to. So let's go ahead and use the same note from part 1 of the videos, and we'll pull that up, and in the edit note window, if you go to set source, you can view all of the sources that you've created previously. So I already have quite a few sources in my source list, but I need to add another one for this particular note, so let's hit new. Next, I need to input all the information from my source. So first thing we want to do is select our source type, and we used a journal article to gather our notes on schizophrenia. And then we want to choose our formatting style. As you can see, we have an extensive list of formatting styles for quite a few different scholastic types. So for this one, we use APA style, since that is the default for psychology, and we're putting together a psychology research paper. So let's use APA style. And next, we want to either set our author or create a new author. So we can use one of our available authors, or we can put a new name in. For this one, we're going to use a previously created author, Andy Ballou. If you double click, it'll add it to this current source that we are creating. And as you can see in the formatted preview, as we put information in, it'll be shown, and it'll be shown in its right format. So let's go ahead and put more information in here. We're going to put the title, which is History of Schizophrenia. And if you're looking at the formatted preview, you can see the information being inputted as I put it in. Next, we'll put the pages. This page is 14 through 27. And then we want to put the date. We have a convenient calendar, which will drop down, and you can scroll through. Let's go back to February 1st, 2008. And as you can see, here is my completed source. I have other information I can put in for this particular source, but this is all I need for right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And to add that source to these current notes, all you have to do is double click, and now you have a source in addition to your categories and keywords. So let's go ahead and hit save. And if you look at your note, your source is now displayed directly below your note. You can also retrieve this note now using sources. As I showed you in the previous video, you can use categories and keywords to retrieve your notes. Now you can use a source. If you click on the Sources tab, you see you have the option of retrieving your notes by the author, the publication, or the titles. And let's stick with authors, and if you click on Ballou, and then it'll display all the notes that he is tagged to. And once again, you can see that you can retrieve that note by clicking on it. Next, I'm going to show you how to work with bibliographies. If we needed a bibliography for the psychology research paper that we are creating, it's really easy to create it as long as you have the sources created from when you've created your notes. Basically, if you put a source with the note right away, later on it'll be much easier and save you quite a bit of time. So let's go ahead and create a bibliography by going to File and then Create Bibliography. When you get to this window, you'll see all of your sources that you have created so far. And you'll want to take the ones that you want on this particular bibliography. All you have to do is double click them to add them to the selected sources box. So we'll double click the History of Schizophrenia, as well as an Introduction to Psychology and a Schizophrenia lecture. Next, we want to format our sources. These are all the sources that will show up on our bibliography, and we want to make sure they're in the correct and same format. So if we go down to Set All Sources Formatting, and then go to APA Style, you'll see that all of your sources are now definitively in APA. You might have created them in APA already, but it's better safe to have them and be sure that they're all in the same citation style. So next, we want to hit Save and Print, and this will show us a preview of our bibliography. Here you have a completed bibliography, which you can either print out or you can save it to a .rtf file, which you'd be able to open in programs such as Microsoft Word if you want to add it to your research paper. But basically, from this point, you have a completed bibliography. You can go into options and change the font if you need to, but as I said, for the most part, you have a very easily generated bibliography. So let's go ahead and close out of that. Next, I want to show you how to attach files to your notes. Attaching files is great to supplement your notes because you could attach things such as articles or photos of graphs or of any sort of statistical information that will help supplement your note and you want to retrieve quickly. So what I want to do is add the PDF of the article to this note. So I'm going to show you how to do attachments with NoteScribe. So if we double click and go back to Edit Note and click Attach Files and then Add New Attachment. I have a PDF saved on my desktop. All I have to do is locate it, and here's my History of Schizophrenia PDF. Let's double click to add it, and as you can see, NoteScribe recognizes it as an Adobe PDF file, and it also has a little image next to the file name, which will help you to recognize it. If you have multiple attachments added to one note, then you'll be able to distinguish the PDFs from, say, the audio files or from the images. So now that we have the file that we wanted to attach, all we have to do is hit OK and hit Save. And as you can see, we have attached a file to this note. Now to open this file, all we have to do is double click it, and we've made a copy of it from our desktop. So the file is still on the desktop, but it's also in NoteScribe, so it hasn't been moved, it's been copied. So it's accessible through both means now. However, it's much easier if you're working in NoteScribe and creating notes in NoteScribe to have it right there next to your note so that you can double click it. Next, I want to show you how to import and export. The import and export feature is great for sharing information with other NoteScribe users and peers, or with a research partner, for example. So if we wanted to send off our research paper information to someone else that needed the same notes, we could easily export it to them, or export it from our NoteScribe and then email it to them or pass it along on a flash drive. So right now I'm going to show you how to export a note from your NoteScribe. All we have to do is select the notes that we were just working on, and all the notes that are shown on the currently displayed notes list will be exported when we hit the export button. So this is our currently displayed notes list area, and if we hit export, we'll go to the desktop or My Documents, wherever you save your documents, and I already have a file name created, and I'm going to save it as schizophrenia paper. And I have exported that note as a .nse. So now I can email that or put it on a flash drive and pass it along to a peer, and they'll be able to import it into their NoteScribe. Let's run over importing really quick so you understand how easily that works. So let's go ahead and clear this. And let's go to the Import Notes button. And I already have a folder with NoteScribe notes in it. And if I wanted one of my partners or classmates' psychology notes, all I have to do is receive the .nse file from them, double click it to go to the Import Notes window. The Import Notes window has quite a bit of information for you. It's going to tell you what categories that a note is located in, it'll tell you the source title, and it'll tell you whether it's a new note, a newer version of an existing note, an identical version of an existing note, or an older version of an existing note. So as you can see, I have 3 new notes, and I have 3 other notes that are notes exactly like what I already have in my database. So I don't really need to re-import these. Let's say the most likely scenario for getting existing notes is if you sent notes to somebody else and they created a few notes and sent you back the same file. So they didn't change these 3 notes, but they sent me 3 new notes that I don't have in my current database. So I want to make sure I get those. So I can deselect these by clicking on the ball next to the name. And now the only 3 notes that will be imported are the new notes. So let's go ahead and click Import. And as you can see, I now have 3 new notes in my psychology section under the subcategory of schizophrenia. So that's how the import function works. It's really convenient for, once again, exchanging information with your peers or getting notes that you might have missed in a class or something that you might have just overlooked while reading a book or an article. So that's a few more examples of the features of NoteScribe. There are quite a few other ones, but if you would like to try NoteScribe out, go to NoteScribe.net and download a free 30-day trial and try it out for yourself. Thank you.